Deportations are ramping up across the country as President Trump implements his promise to crack down on illegal immigration. We have new details about the White House's moves to ramp up immigration enforcement. CNN's Ed Lavandera is near the U.S.-Mexico border in El Paso with more.
Here in El Paso along the U.S. southern border, the number of crossings of migrants has already been dropping dramatically even toward the end of the Biden administration. But the scene here is starting to also change in many different ways along the U.S. southern border now that we are at the end of the first week of President Donald Trump's first week back in office. The president is now authorizing and allowing immigration arrests to take place around what is known as safe areas like churches and schools anywhere in the country. We've also seen the administration touting the use of military aircraft to deport migrants back to their home countries. In fact, several flights have been taking Guatemalan nationals back to Guatemala. We have seen that those military aircraft have been brought to El Paso and to San Diego. Deportation flights, for proper context here, have gone on for years, but the use of military aircraft is unique and different, so that is expected to continue as well. But we should also put into proper context the number of deportations that have happened this week, as much as the Trump administration is touting those numbers, is kind of in line with what we have seen over the last couple of years during the Biden administration. That's where we're at now. This could change dramatically in the weeks and months ahead, of course. But so far, really, it's the tactics that it seems to be kind of changing in what we're seeing here along the U.S. southern border. And it's coming at a time when the number of migrant crossings have already been dropping rather dramatically as well. Ed Lavandera, CNN, El Paso, Texas.
All right, concerns over mass deportations are especially being felt in America's agricultural industry, where hundreds of thousands of foreign workers take on the grueling jobs to harvest and maintain America's crops. The president's aggressive push against illegal immigration is also raising questions about what it could mean for some migrants who are legally in the U.S. Joining us right now is the president of the United Farm Workers Labor Union, Teresa Romero. Teresa, great to see you. So what are you hearing from your members, their concerns, their thoughts about all that might be coming?
Thank you very much for having me. You know, farm workers are feeling afraid. They're on edge. As we know, there's a lot of mixed families, and children who are born in this country are feeling afraid. They're afraid to go to school because they don't know if mom and dad are going to be home when they get home.
So what are you telling them, you know, when they've expressed those concerns and the level of anxiety that so many families are feeling?
Absolutely. We are meeting with workers, talking to them, letting them know what their rights are. Unfortunately, under the current administration, there is nothing that we can do to 100% protect them. Continue to organize the workers, continue making sure that they have union representation where they're going to be more protected than anywhere else. But the workers, they need to remember they have rights. They don't have to sign documents. They can ask for an attorney. They don't have to answer questions. It is, you know, fear that they have, and sometimes they forget what their rights are.
But in the case of, you know, impending raids, right, that are already being, I guess, signposted to happen in a number of communities, people might feel like they have to have documentation on them, or they're worried about if they don't have certain documentation on their person that they are going to get caught up in, you know, a transport, and they're going to be taken somewhere, even if they have legal, you know, documentation. So are you telling people that they need to carry, you know, things? I mean, what do they do? How do they prepare?
Absolutely. We're telling them to carry their identification. If they are in this country legally, they have a residence or they're citizens, they need to carry proof with them. We know that Latinos are, especially farm workers, the majority are undocumented. And they need to understand that they have rights, and yes, they need to carry their documentation. They need to prove who they are, but they need to remember that they don't have to answer any questions. They don't have to sign any document, and they have the right to an attorney.
The UFW, your group, put out a video this week showing strawberry workers in Ventura County, California, harvesting crops amid the smoky conditions brought on by, huge wildfires, specifically the Hughes fire. We're looking at it right now. So how are these wildfires impacting conditions for your members, and that being now compounded by the worries about the new administration's immigration policies?
Farm workers are the forefront of climate change. The fires, the challenges that they face every year, not only with the fires, with heat, in some states with the cold, is something that they face every single year. And as you see in the video, farm workers continue to work, we are the ones, in many cases, we are providing masks for their protection, because they do not get those protections. Sometimes when the air quality gets over 150, the employers must provide masks, but unfortunately, they don't do it. And this is something that we also try to do, to step up and make sure that we do everything we can to protect them. But they suffer this every single year.
And right now dealing with very tenuous and frightening times. All right, Teresa Romero, thank you so much. We hope to stay in touch with you as things continue.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you.